third contestant for this afternoon is Poonam Gupta. A mismatch made in heaven. A mismatch made in heaven. Poonam Gupta.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and honored judges. By show of hands, how many of you get nervous by job interviews? So many of you are like me. And imagine if you had to go for job interviews in an entirely new country, halfway across the globe, with English as your second language. As a new migrant back in 1990, I needed to look for a job. But first, I needed to learn how to drive a car. Because in India, we did not have a car. We did not think we needed one. A whole family of 5 would happily travel on one scooter. A scooter is like a motorcycle, way less cooler though. I wish you were there to see us. But picture this. My father would be on the driving seat. I would stand in front of my father holding the handle. My mother behind my father holding my little sister with the other hand. My brother would be behind my mother holding on to his dear life. Who needs a car when you are so comfy and safe? But here we had a car and my husband became my driving instructor. Anybody who has had their spouse or a loved one as their instructor knows what I'm talking about. Sure enough, I failed my driving test. Not just once, not twice, but 3 times. Due to some miracle, I finally got my precious driving license. Next, I needed to pass my CP exam. I studied very hard, but I had no doubt in my mind that I would fail it, looking at my driving test record. To my disbelief, I passed it in the very first attempt. Thank God, my husband was not my instructor this time. Now, no more excuse to stay home. I went to my very first job fair. I was so excited that I wore my best Indian dress, a beautiful sari, in all kinds of vibrant colors, like red, orange, blue, yellow, green, turquoise blue. Nobody told me that dressing up like a peacock was not appropriate for job fair. It would have been perfect in India. My husband immediately took me shopping and got me some gorgeous business suits in all kinds of perfection colors, like navy blue, black, purple, and some very uncomfortable matching pumps to go with that. He was much better in picking me business suits than he was in teaching me driving. I started getting interview calls, but having a driver's license does not mean that you can drive to all these new places all by yourself. Those days, we did not have GPS. We did not have Google Maps. We did not even have cell phones. So he used to drive me the night before to show me the place. But he only did it for 5 times and left me all alone. Then what do you expect? I thoroughly got lost driving to my next interview. Only after stopping at half a dozen gas stations and asking for directions, I finally reached the place. I didn't do too bad. I was only 2 hours late. Those days I used to drive stick shift because automatic car was a luxury which we could not afford. And ladies, do you know how hard it is to drive a stick shift car in heels? So I used to keep all my shoes, heels in the car and drive in flat shoes. That day I was so late that I quickly changed my shoes and rushed to the building. I walked across the entire office getting to the other end where my interview room was. And I noticed everybody noticing me. Must be my sharp new navy blue suit, I thought. I was made to sit on a chair at a distance from the interviewer so that I'm in full view. I was feeling very confident about myself. In the middle of the interview, I looked down and noticed a black thumb. Blue would have been better to go with the blue suit, but that's okay. Little while later, I switched my leg and I looked down and I gasped. I could not believe what I saw there. I had picked up a mismatched pair of shoes from my car. To my horror, I was wearing a purple shoe in my other foot. I hope that the intruder thought that I'm making a fashion statement here. I lost my confidence and started stammering. I mustered enough courage and barely managed to say, just notice that I'm wearing two different shoes. She replied in the coldest, most severe expressions. I already made a note. The tone of her voice told me that there was no point explaining my situation to her. So I moved out of her office, got back into my car, and started crying. Am I a complete mismatch in this country? Am I a total failure? But then I said to myself, no, Poonam, you're not a failure. Don't give up. You're not a mismatch. It's just your shoes. And I started laughing at myself. What a great story. It only took me 40 more interviews to get a job. I'd eventually learn how to drive to a place without getting lost. I have made many mistakes in my life, but every mistake has taught me a valuable lesson. Every failure has made me stronger, more resilient, and has shaped me into who I am today. Every mismatch has led me to a better match. And in the end, I have realized that there are no real mismatches in life. Every mismatch, in fact, is a match made in heaven.